Hey everyone, welcome to Brick Vault. Today is awesome because I get to show you guys a wonderfully detailed model that really pops. This is the Going Merry from the long-lasting manga and anime series One Piece. It's the first main ship of the Straw Hat Pirates that serves the crew well for many of its early adventures, and the designer, State Alchemist, has absolutely knocked it out of the park with some amazing micro details. For the long-lasting fans of the series, you should be able to recognize many fun, subtle details. And for anyone else even remotely interested in like Lego micro techniques, there are certainly a couple of things in this build that I have not encountered anywhere else. All right, and with all that, before we jump in, first I just want to say that if you think you might be interested in building this thing for yourself, you can get the instructions at brickvault.toys. With each purchase comes the PDF step-by-step guide to build, a digital parts list for ordering your pieces online. All of our models are hand tested for durability. Instructions steps are troubleshot, so the model should be easy to build, and the parts for this creation are chosen for availability as well. By the way, this model is particularly easy to source for pieces. Buying instructions from us is an excellent way to help support the channel and the talented designers that we work with, like State Alchemist, so click the link in the description below if you want to get started, and we're off. The Going Merry has that wonderful pirate ship aesthetic, that great shape. There's the square rigged sail in the center with the skull and crossbones, a big figurehead in the front. There's of course cannons on the sides, one on the deck, but of course the cartoony and fun nature of this universe really pops through immediately. The skull and crossbones insignia on the sail has the hat, the straw hat. I like the use of the 1x1 tiles here. It somewhat intentionally outlines the details for the teeth on the skull. The sheep figurehead in the front is kind of funny and round. It doesn't look necessarily like a sheep, but I also don't think that the actual figurehead from the show looked much like a sheep either. The entire round front of the ship, in fact, feels seamless. I'm a really big fan of how he got the white ornate detailing to curve up and around the front main cannon. And when you cut around to the back, there's the first very interesting technique that also has to do with the white outline when you're looking right at the rear. It's extremely hard to see, but right along the back area, there's a complete stud reorientation, totally different building techniques that marry up against each other with hardly a seam. You can just see it along the edge where we've got some tile detailing that runs up against some stacked bricks. One of the main things here that really popped for me on this micro model are the actual color inlays that we have in certain areas of the build. There are several different doors that you can see outlined along the ship, with their borders clearly defined with plates and brackets in white. The hatch that leads down to the lower deck is also at the base here, outlined in black. And I especially love the dark brown tile outlining that goes around some of the cannons in the back. If we're sticking with detailing that is just one plate or one tile thick, the stairs have a wonderful way of coming together with different jumper and tile pieces. I like how the white curved banisters are held up with just a few studs, and there's a little bit of spacing between there. And then this is also a technique right here that I haven't seen anybody ever attempt before, but because the top deck of a ship like this is made up of a ton of thin strips of wood, the designer State Alchemist decided to include jumper pieces that have a groove along the bottom edge of the piece. When built sideways, that groove actually just creates a little bit of extra texture at this micro scale that outlines the line detailing of the deck. So instead of just using regular plates that doesn't have a groove at the bottom, he chose to use jumpers that are the same color and they have just a little bit of extra, there's just a little bit of extra line detailing added when you look very close. To put it more simply, Lego just doesn't get more detailed than that, but there are still some awesome things to point out, like this little cannon in the front. I like how it mushrooms out in the front with that little inkwell piece. The hot dog piece used for the anchor is a fun detail. I like the subtle shaping that you have for the straw hat skulls on the very top of the two little black flags. Nami's orange trees look great. They add a bunch of color, including the wonderfully striped flag that's just behind it. The model is incredibly robust, super heavy for its size. Much of the internals are built with mostly plates. In fact, there are very few bricks on the inside of this thing, so it's a really dense piece, and it was just a blast to put together. Ultimately, microscale building just doesn't get much more detailed than this, and it looks just as good from afar as it does up close. So anyways, if you did want to build this for yourself, you can get the instructions at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. Let me know what types of other creations you'd like to see built in the future. If you enjoy our content, you can always like, subscribe, comment, share. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time at Brick Vault.